And so I have taken my Nikon D5300 and hooked it up to my television, and I'm going to use this to attempt to demonstrate exactly why we can't see stars in photos of the Earth and Elon Musk's Roadster, etc., etc., and other near-Earth objects. Now, I appreciate that right now I am incredibly out of focus and very, very orange. The reason for it will become apparent in just a few short moments. The back wall of this room is going to be used to represent stars, galaxies, other objects that are far away from our eyes, and thus a very dim light source. I am going to turn off the lights in the room because they are throwing off the analogy, because there are no light bulbs in space, etc. There is, however, a sun. I have a little torch here that is going to represent this. And we're going to be using this in just a moment to actually demonstrate what I'm talking about. So, let's get rid of the excess light that we're not worrying about and just point something out. So I have told the camera to be sensitive enough to take a nice enough picture of the room as it sits right now. But if there wasn't as much light, and the only light source that we have now is a window over on there in the corner, you can see that little area over there, and that's reflecting onto the back wall, which is then sending light towards the camera. So you can't really see that back wall very well. What I can do is tell the camera, accept more of the light you have coming in by turning up the sensitivity. There's a setting on here called the ISO. And at the moment it's set to 800. That's good for what the room looked like when the lights were on, but now they're off. We need it to be higher. This is high 1. And it looks something like this. I'll make sure the torch directly into the lens. Like I said, you can now see those stars very, very well, competently with that setting of that camera. The problem is, if you want to photograph something that's close to the Earth and to the Sun, this happens. You just get an ugly ball of brightness. There's no detail. You can't actually see, like I say, which direction my eyes would be looking at any one time. There's nothing really useful in that photograph except for the stars in the background and an ugly foreground. For this kind of a picture, i.e. the Roadster or planet Earth, because those are the two objects reflecting sunlight, you need to turn the sensitivity of the camera down. You can't have it at high 1. You need to have it at something like 800 again. Now you can see my face. You can actually tell what's going on with it, and you can see my eyes and where they go. But you can't see the stars. They're too dim. They're not bright enough to send enough light in order to be registered on the sensor at this sensitivity. If they were, you'd be able to, but they're not. They're far away, and the sun is just too close and it's just too bright. That's why we can't see stars in photography of near-Earth objects. We can see them in photographs of themselves and such and so forth because we've told the camera to accept that image. But if there was something else there that we didn't want to be able to see because it was too bright, it would just be in the way.